We're going to bring in Landon Swan from LikeFolio.com. And hey, happy Friday, Landon, before we get started.
Absolutely. Happy Friday.
Awesome. Looking forward to this weekend for sure, as you are, I'm sure. But we're taking a look at a couple different companies here, a little competitive discussion here. Kroger versus Whole Foods, which is a division of Amazon, right?
That's right. Yeah, so this was supposed to be, this is kind of billed as a absolute beatdown. When Amazon announced they were buying Whole Foods back in the summer of 2017, Kroger sold off, I think, 20 or 25%, something like that. And Amazon actually gained as much market share as Whole Foods cost. It may have been the move of the decade, buying that company. But we just didn't see Whole Foods dominate like everyone thought they would. Every time Amazon comes into an industry, everyone runs scared, thinking they're going to take over. But Kroger did not back down. They fought. They've come out with all kinds of fantastic innovations, and they're actually beating Amazon as far as, Instacart, delivering food, getting in-store pickups. So they're showing their technology edge. They're showing they're not behind the times. And what's interesting on this chart here, you can see the two lines. You've got Whole Foods and Amazon there. Whole Foods in sort of a white and Kroger there in blue. You can see that there was a bit of a hype cycle after the announcement. You can see the purchase intent of Whole Foods ran up quite a bit and was much higher than Kroger for quite a while. And Kroger just steadily kept going and gained market share. And the hype around Whole Foods has kind of died off since then. So I think it's taking a little bit longer than people anticipated. They thought that as soon as Amazon bought Whole Foods, you'd tell Alexa that you were thirsty and you'd have a drone dropping off a drink in your hand in 20 minutes. But that hasn't been the case, and they've just not integrated as fast as people thought they would. So it's kind of interesting to see the hype cycle of the Whole Foods Amazon acquisition and Kroger's response to that just kind of keep going, innovating, doing really well, and competing very well against Whole Foods.
Your point is right on what I'm thinking, which is, Amazon's the sexy name. Kroger is not sexy. But here's the only thing about Kroger. They've got 3,900 stores, and they got a bunch of really loyal customers, right? So this week's news, Whole Foods are going to cut all their prices. Should affect Kroger. Kroger stock sells off. But historically, if you look at the chart on Kroger, it sells off on this news, and it comes right back. Is that what you got?
That's exactly right.
And you're seeing that in some of the data with Kroger, how they're kind of weathering the storm, aren't they?
Absolutely, yeah. They are showing tremendous resilience to anything that Amazon or Whole Foods can throw at them. And so this is actually the third time that Whole Foods has announced a price cut, and I think they're having to do it to keep up with the lower prices of Kroger. Meanwhile, Kroger is focusing on more natural foods, organic foods. That's kind of taking away the Whole Foods edge. And then they're also, they're doing great with technology, with Instacart delivery. They're boasting 1-hour delivery, whereas Whole Foods boasting 2-hour delivery in some cities. And so it's, Kroger's footprint is so much larger than Whole Foods.
Massive.
I think that until Amazon can integrate it all over the country, Kroger's got that huge advantage.
Yeah, I always look at it this way. People make those jokes about whole paycheck when you're going to Whole Foods because it is so pricey.
Oh, they're not jokes.
Well, I know from experience too. But, I look at it this way, Landon, it's about scale right now, and Whole Foods doesn't have the scale to compete, and especially the different locations. Is that part of it too that you're seeing from your data?
Absolutely. If there's one thing that Amazon does extremely well, it's scale. But when you're talking about food, it doesn't translate immediately upon acquisition like people thought it may. And so Kevin's point about the number of stores is a fantastic point. It's just Kroger has a massive, massive lead, and they're showing that they're not backing down on technology. They're willing to innovate. They see the threats, and they're taking great actions to respond to those. So I think the management executive team at Kroger are doing a fantastic job of weathering this and powering through it, and actually gaining back some of what many had feared that Whole Foods was taking away from them.
Yeah,
$23 and a 2.3% dividend yield.
Yeah. And it's over the last 52 weeks, it's at the same spot.
Yep.
So I don't think Kroger investors are too happy. But for more on social media, let's bring in TD Ameritrade Network's own Jenny Horn. Good morning, Jenny.
Good morning, guys.
Whole Foods or Kroger to buy like your box of Slim
Don't
Jims?
ask that question. Like, come on.
Slim
Have you ever
Jims.
been in a Kroger in your life?
No, I have not, but I've been in
Exactly.
Mariano's, so that kind of...
No, that's closer to Whole Foods than Kroger.
But
It's
that
all about
Kroger owns them,
proximity, though.
right?
I mean,
Yes.
Kroger owns.
Exactly.
a
So
part of
I've been
that.
in a product of Kroger, basically.
Okay.
That's
All
it.
right, we'll give you a pass.
Okay, so the noise on social media today is super bearish on this whole price cut thing. And honestly, I feel like people have gotten so much more critical of Whole Foods since the Amazon acquisition.
Right.
The whole paycheck thing definitely comes up a lot, obviously. And Landon mentioned a really good point, is loyalty. People are so loyal to their Kroger brands that they're having a hard time justifying spending extra money at Whole Foods. So really critical on the price cut thing this morning, which was kind of surprising to see. But our first tweet is from Chad Shoop, who says, Amazon is going to have to do better than 20% to get me to walk back into Whole Foods. As a buyer of mostly organic and free-range groceries, there's better alternatives to the high-priced products Whole Foods offers. The cuts will keep coming. So do you guys think the cuts will keep coming based on how these were received this week?
Well, it's only a portion of what they're providing, right? It's like 500 items. Is that it, Landon? And to compete with that scale, Landon, they're going to have to cut even more products. Is that what basically this guy's saying?
This round of price cuts is focused mostly on produce.
Yeah, and that's a big area for Kroger as far as their sales go and stuff
Right, and
like
there's
that.
all these headlines about them cutting prices, but then you realize it's only really on a small percent of their products.
Yeah.
So it's not actually...
20% off of a $80 steak is still high.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, you got another tweet for us.
I do. Our next tweet is from Wells, who says, Amazon, does anyone else see them cutting prices at Whole Foods as not being able to compete as easy as I thought in the grocery market? Tooting my Kroger horn. So this kind of goes along with what we were just saying.
There it is. There's the loyalty right
Exactly. People have a hard time justifying going to Whole Foods when they're so loyal to Kroger.
Yeah.
And I mean, Kroger is doing a great job now, like we just saw on Landon's chart, competing in the space where we talk about the Amazon effect, but it seems like Kroger has been totally resistant.
Think about this, Landon, with Kroger versus a Whole Foods. Whole Foods, for me, is an experience. You go in there, the ones around Chicago, they have wine bars in them. You can taste a bunch of cheese. It's almost like an experience walking through there. Kroger, on the other hand, is really ramping up the delivery business. And I'm probably not getting stuff, or maybe people aren't getting stuff delivered from Whole Foods as opposed to like Kroger or a standard Jewel or something like that, right?
I think so. And if you're talking about delivery, then you're taking away that experience. Exactly right. So that removes the advantage that Whole Foods has. So then they have to compete on price, which as Amazon customers, that's what people want. They want, medium to high quality, but they want low prices, and that's absolutely key. So all of a sudden you've got this company that has traditionally much higher prices that's relying on an experience type angle like you're talking about, competing against a company like Kroger, who's always had low prices, and they're upping their game on everything else. So I think that's where we're seeing Kroger holding off the Whole Foods surge, or at least the hype of the potential surge.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see if Kroger's stock can rebound anytime soon, because it's flatlined over the last year. Hey, Landon, have a great weekend. Thanks for all the data on these two names. Appreciate it.